At group projects at high school, I preferred being put into a group randomly instead of being able to choose who to group with. For an introvert-orientated person like me, randomized group projects were the best way to meet new people without it feeling unnatural. This way I would talk to people I normally would never really talk to instead of being in a group with the same 3 people as always. I prefer randomly chosen groups because if we had to choose I'd always feel like shit afterwards because no one would want me in their group. I'd always be the last to have no group, and of course it was usually an odd number so the teacher would call me out in front of everyone to get me in a group. I liked being assigned randomly because I knew my friends wouldn't do any work, but I knew they'd want to be in my group and I didn't want to have to turn them down. I'm typically more comfortable holding strangers accountable for group work than friends. I hate all group projects. I agree. I assume as an introvert you've also experienced when the teacher said to form groups and you couldn't because you didn't know anyone in the class or they already formed groups. Embarrassing as hell. I preferred no group at all because every group I was in was filled with a bunch of lazy morons and I had to do all the work to ensure I got an A. Forcing people to work a bit outside of their comfort zone is definitely beneficial. Even people who tend to be extroverts can grow from randomized group experiences. Most Redditors will agree with this, haha. I thought I was the only one. It caused a great deal of anxiety for me and a lot of times I skipped class in fear of pick a partner. I liked random groups, and my teacher was incredible about the way she did it. She had us write the names of people we couldn't work with. There was one kid in the class who I had a nasty friendship breakup with. I did not want to be in a group with him, but it could just be people you don't click with, or you're best friends with and don't want the distraction. When the groups were split randomly, the troublemakers usually weren't in a group with only their friends, so they were very respectful and responsible. It was much better than being in a group with a person I knew. I did a report with my best friend, and they just played Roblox with my brother while my mom and I did the project. I wanted to tell the teacher because I was upset, but they were my best friend. There are usually no strings attached when you work randomly. I also preferred being put into groups randomly since the pain of your best friends choosing someone else to work with just sucked. Projects are really a great way to build good friendships. But not randomizing it just makes it worse for introverted and shy people. Not just school projects. Basically anywhere you're asked to group up. The popular ones, the smart ones are wanted by everyone. Rest of them are left out. This continues every single time there's such a situation and that introverted guy's chance of getting to know new people keeps getting worse. Working in groups during HS was never really that enjoyable. Often I found that the other people in the group would ignore me then act like I wasn't contributing, or they would contribute nothing and make me do most of the work depending on who I was with. Yes, yeah, especially when your friend group is 4 people in the class and it's groups of 3. I really preferred when the teacher assigned us people, not randomly. The teacher always knew us and our strengths, and would match us with people that would work well together with a nice mix of strengths. I see what you mean, but choosing a group doesn't have to be awkward too. I'm also in high school and I have 0 friends. If I have to choose a group, I'd just be like, hey, I don't have anyone to work with, mind if I work with you guys, or something like that. If they say no, they're just embarrassing themselves by being assholes. Nah, I definitely preferred choosing groups. I rarely got along well with randos in high school, everyone was just awkward about it. Always worked really well whenever I got to choose groups. Also I hated the secret third option, your teacher assigning groups deliberately, and not randomly, just to make certain people work together. I had a few group projects like that, but one especially comes to mind where a teacher had me work with 4 girls who were all good friends, making me the odd sheep. They all sat around talking and doing absolutely 0 work. I did about 1/3 of the assignment, out of 5 people, mind you, and then said okay, well I did my part. I even brought up the issue with these girls to the teacher to see if he could speak to them, and he told me it was my responsibility to make them do their work. Having to choose a group can be awkward, especially if you don't really know anyone in the class. Yes. At the school I go to in the past it was always the teacher who choose the groups, but now you can choose for yourself. This is worse because I'll always be the only one who doesn't have anyone. I preferred random groups sometimes because if the project is stressful you can get in fights with your friends and that's not fun. But if it's not a stressful project or if I don't like the other classmates, I prefer friends. I agree. I like talking to people. I'm just also not very confident, so random groups are great opportunities for me to get to know people. I agree that randomizing is better for a couple reasons. For the kids who would be left out is obviously the biggest one. But for me, I never really had/have that problem. I just want to get to know other people. My friends are great, but who am I possibly missing out on by always working with the same people? Or maybe that guy you're too scared to talk to. You can meet way more people by random grouping. My only issue is work ethic. My theater teacher picked our groups I think a total of 2 times, and both times I had to ask for a separate grade, even after doing the majority of the work. That shouldn't be a thing. If teachers chose groups that actually work well together and didn't leave one kid who wants to put in the effort with a bunch of people who don't, then I think random groups are great. I was the exact same. It felt weird confronting someone random as I too was introverted, but having random group projects felt like an amazing opportunity to meet new people.